The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to our Aquarius full moon webinar. This is always an important one because the spiritual hierarchy of our planet is identified with the constellation, the sign Aquarius, and because we are moving into that age, a lesser age of Aquarius of some 2160 years, and also a greater age of Aquarius due to begin at an unspecified time, but relatively shortly, of 25,000 years. You see here the image that Francis Donald has sent to us of an inner group in meditation with the meditating master. We will be discussing that and his text in a little while. I trust everything is coming through as it should. Hopefully you can all hear and you can all see. We will move here to the banner for Aquarius. We see the turquoise color, which is connected with this sign, according to the Tibetan. We see the mantram here, water of life am I, poured forth for thirsty men, and the three rulers of Aquarius in their appropriate colors. Here we find the violet of Uranus, indicating the seventh ray that comes through it. It is the orthodox or exoteric ruler. We have also the esoteric ruler, Jupiter, in its color of blue, with some tinge of violet, as it has both the second and seventh ray. And here is the image of the veiling moon, which actually indicates the transfiguring personality in Aquarius, veiling Vulcan for the physical vehicle, Neptune for the astral, and Uranus again for the mental, for the occult mind. So we will be, okay, I hope that my audio quality is good enough. It says I may be experiencing somewhat degraded audio quality, but I have two helpful helpers standing by just in case we have a problem. We will now look here at the Jafra illustration, and we see the Aquarius, the water carrier, pouring forth the waters of life. We have kind of an interesting benevolent onlooking solar orb here with that wide-eyed Aquarian look, pouring forth the nature of his energy upon all who can receive, the just and the unjust. We see the waters of life pouring through here. Actually, this is a living, vibrant, spiritual energy of all kinds, which we will be appreciating increasingly as the fifth or scientific ray transmitted by Aquarius brings us into greater contact with these hidden energies and forces. And we see that the waters of life are nourishing 7 lotuses. Well, these can stand for all the various septonates. They can stand, of course, for the human chakra system. They can stand as well for the major 7 planetary logoi, who are as major chakras in our solar systemic, our solar system. And they can also stand for the nourishing of solar logoi, of which our sun is one, because each of these great logoi are a chakra within a cosmic logos. And of course, Aquarius is a greater being still. Like all the constellations of the zodiac, found within the, as it is called, the heart in the head center of a great supercosmic logos, the one about whom naught may be said. So these great energies pour throughout space, throughout our planet, throughout our solar system, throughout our local cosmic logos, and are nourishing and vitalizing. Of course, now we have the possibility of life more abundant during this Aquarian age, and this will be poured forth on our planet from Shambhala. So Aquarius is particularly connected with these assembled energies in Shambhala and the way that they can nourish the entire planet in its initiatory path, as it is now undergoing a kind of fourth initiation. And with that fourth initiation, with the third as well, Aquarius is identified. We see here the skull, but it represents a portal. It harkens back to the sign Capricorn, from which we just emerged. And if we pass through the jaws of death, as it were, and achieve a type of immortality, we will be led on this path towards a great summit, which we could call Utopia, or the shining city on the hill. Here we have both Saturn, the more ancient ruler of Aquarius, which still does apply in many cases, and Uranus, the planet relatively newly discovered some 200 years ago, perhaps not quite, and which represents the newer types of forces coming through this sign. Now I'd like to return, and hopefully, yes, this image is here. I'd like to read what Francis Donald has sent to us, and these are his notes. And this image that he has sent, and he has sent actually 3, is called From the Heart of the Master. We are aware that there is a stage of discipleship that is called the Chela in the Master's heart. It's a very advanced stage, and somewhat the depiction is being offered here. In Aquarius, the Tibetan says, the man awakens to the beauty of group life, to group interest, and to his individual responsibility towards his group, and thus begins to live his life and spend himself in the service of humanity. There is that great outgoing energy in Aquarius where we offer all we have. We empty the bowl, as it were. Now, Francis is describing the image which he has given us. He's saying, imagine a group of people sitting around a central figure. Their various facial expressions, physical types, ages, and clothing each give us insight into their personalities. But that is not what this image is portraying. Francis says, now imagine that we can lift our vision from the denser subplanes and visualize the etheric realm. The scene shifts dramatically. The physical vehicles of our group grow dark, for here the light comes from a different source. Glowing energetic matrices, vibrant with the color and quality of the group, overlay the dense physical forms. And here we do see the violet color beautifully emphasized. We see the etheric matrices visible in all of the attending chelas, attending upon the Master, who is, as it were, the center of this group of initiates, more closely circled around him than the larger group of disciples. I would interpret it that way. With our inner eye now open, says Francis, we see a Master sitting at the center of his group of disciples. Those on the outer periphery are only faintly aware of his presence, but the initiates who sit in the circle immediately around the Master know him well, for they have worked for incarnations to attune to his aura. This alignment, known as being close to the Master's heart, enables these initiates to consciously direct the energy of love wisdom that flows through their Master from the Master of all Masters, the Christ. And so here we're dealing with the various stages of discipleship in approach to the Master, the little Chela ship, the Chela in the light, the accepted disciple, the chela on the thread, the chela in the aura, and then finally the chela in the master's heart, leading eventually to the blending of the lights. And these many stages of synthesis will be revealed to us during the Aquarian age, in which the hierarchy will actually externalize and its ways be far better known among those human beings who can understand. Here we have further a Pythian vessel. This is DK's statement here from White Magic. Discover the serpent of illusion by the help of the serpent of wisdom, and then will the sleeping serpent mount upward to the place of meeting. And there is here, this is the Pythian vase, and we see the S-like, the serpents rising together. There are 7 of these serpents creating the cup. This companion piece, says Francis, is a design for a water vessel, an Aquarian symbol. It depicts 7 serpents of wisdom united as one. Thus, its number is 17. In esoteric numerology, you're allowed to do that, to put the numbers side by side, that they may together dispense the waters of life. And when the Kundalini power is raised in so many of the coming initiates, the dispensing of the waters of life will be far more possible. The serpent power will make possible the pouring forth of the life more abundant. The bottom view of this vessel reveals the 7-fold energy that forms the bond between these 7 great nagas, and that is an Eastern name for the serpent. Okay, so they are bound together at the root, and they carry these great potential energies, potential for lifting humanity and our planet. Now we learn something about path number 4. The energy of path 4 reaches us from Sirius via the sun, and the hierarchies concerned with this specific type of cosmic force hide themselves under the numbers 14 and 17. So this is a deep study of the spiritual hierarchies. Here is something on geometry. Whereas the Leonian knows himself as the point in the center, and the Sagittarian directs his focused attention along the radius of the circle, the enlightened Aquarian knows that, though he is only one point within the circle, he is also the circle itself, the circle steadily growing through the ever-expanding inclusivity of love wisdom. And although the second ray of love wisdom is not transmitted through the constellation Aquarius per se, we are given only the 5th ray. Of course, there are other rays as well that are not given, I suspect. Through Jupiter, the esoteric ruler, the love wisdom energy is transmitted to all who can respond to it. So this is a way of transmission for love wisdom, and as disciples of the Masters seeking closer contact with humanity and greater service of humanity, inspired by the hierarchy, the love wisdom energy is that which we must express primarily on this planet and at this time. So the second ray of love wisdom, the ray of the esoteric planetary ruler of Aquarius, expresses itself through a breathtaking line of ascent, some of which are depicted in From the Heart of the Master, described as thus by the Tibetans. So we can imagine ascending via a stream of heart centers, because if Leo represents the heart center, then Aquarius represents the circulation of the energy of the heart center. Aquarius is well closely connected with the heart center. So this line of ascent goes from the disciple's heart center, the heart center in the head, the egoic lotus, which until the 4th initiation is the heart center of the monadic life, the master at the center of the disciples group, the Christ, the heart center of the hierarchy, the life of the monad, which begins to make itself felt at the 3rd initiation, the Lord of life himself, the heart center of Shambhala. This sign, Aquarius, is closely connected to developments in Shambhala during the coming age. The line of relationship then extends from these onward and upward, spherically considered, to the life at the very center of our Earth's alter ego, the planet Venus, to Jupiter, the esoteric ruler of Aquarius, and to the solar Lord himself, and thence to the Sun, Sirius. So there's a tremendous potential for love, wisdom, energy here, given the close relation of Aquarius to the heart center and the circulation of the heart center's energy. So here we are reminded of Jupiter as the ruler of Aquarius. The Lord of Love is the most potent of the seven rays because he is on the same cosmic ray as the solar deity. And he expresses himself through the planet Jupiter, which I do believe is considered as the heart chakra of our solar logos. And then Sirius here as well. The energies coming from the sun Sirius are related to the love-wisdom aspect of the solar logos, to the soul of that great being. We can say that the logos of Sirius is the initiator of our solar logos, just as Venus is the initiator in many respects of our planetary logos. This cosmic soul energy is related to the hierarchy, and you have been told that the Great White Lodge on Sirius finds its reflection and mode of spiritual service and outlet in the Great White Lodge of our planet, the hierarchy. The inclusive nature of Aquarius is demonstrated in this picture of the lotus flower. The seven are surrounding, the six are surrounding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, surrounding the one. The seven serpents and the one. So this can, in a way, be considered almost the base of that chalice. It is a sign of great synthesis, of unity, of the uniting of many forces in a manner which will transfigure the forces which are united. Okay, so we thank you, Francis, for that, the text on this and the beautiful images which we will reference as we go along. Well, now I think then we are ready for our meditation. With these high thoughts in mind, our attempt is to contact the Aquarian energy, the energy of the constellation Aquarius, as it moves through the sign Aquarius, which is more associated with our particular planet, and the energies of the rulers of the sign Aquarius, which mediate the Aquarian energy and the solar energy, and allow us to touch it in ways that we can more easily assimilate. All right, we are in a day of dedication at about 2. Well, I'm looking at our time here in Colorado. It's another 4.5 hours or so. In about another 4.5 hours, we enter the 12 hours preceding the actual full moon, and then we will be within the day of safeguarding, and followed by our days of distribution. So our purpose now, as we prepare to move towards the actual moment of the full moon, which occurs something like 9:53 or so, almost 9:54, in Greenwich, England, which we will use as our reference point. We will move towards the reception of that energy, so that when the time of the actual full moon comes, we will be in the correct condition to receive and to distribute it. All right then. So we begin with our Aquarius solar fire meditation. And we withdraw our consciousness from the personality and its vehicles. And in so doing, leaving them behind in our consciousness, we enter into the consciousness of the soul. We affirm that we are the soul in incarnation. We are true being within the field of the personality, but our source is much more interior. So we are entering together the field of light, of love, and of spiritual power. And we want to feel those energies because they are always present. In the presence of soul light, soul love, and the spiritual power of the soul. And we begin to sense the group soul. The soul is not strictly an individual focus. It is a unity of being. The soul through this meditating group. The soul through the new group of world servers. Through the men and women of goodwill all over the world. Through all humanity. The one soul of humanity. A consciousness presence everywhere. Present in every one of its apertures, which are human beings. And through the other kingdoms, of course. But we're concentrating for a moment on humanity. A sense of one being, like Argus with the 10,000 eyes, perceiving, seeing, experiencing through many eyes who are human beings. But it's one unitive being. And we realize, as much as we can, as we feel our being and consciousness extended throughout humanity, that the ancient affirmation is correct. Naught is but me. The great I, the great me, the one consciousness of humanity, which is but an aspect of the planetary, solar, cosmic, universal consciousness. And so we are as one together. And wherever we may be located, in terms of our physical presence, in the illusory worlds of time and space, we realize that we are in each other's presence, united, one being. Now we imagine upon the mental plane a potent point of tension. This is the mental unit, this is the point of intention we are going to create, not only individually but as a group. And that point of tension draws up all of the forces of the personality, physical, etheric, and astral, toward itself, forming a point of projection, a foundation upon which we can launch a penetration into higher dimensions. So here is the group point of tension as if before us. And we are focusing at that point of tension, and we are strengthening it according to our soul ray, the will aspect of our soul ray. If on the first ray in the soul, the will to initiate, or the will to unify on the second ray, the will to evolve on the third, the will to harmonize on the fourth, the will to act on the fifth, the will to cause on the sixth, the will to express on the seventh, but mainly the will to unify, as this is largely a second ray group, either in its soul or monadic nature. We strengthen our point of projection, we intensify it, drawing in the will aspect of the soul, especially the will to unify and the will to see the prevailing unity of all things. And each of us then can envision his or her particular strand of the Antakarana. For each of us it is a twofold strand, carrying the qualities and colors of the soul and personality ray. So according to our soul and personality ray, we will envision the Antakarana as if it is uniting this group mental unit with a group monastic permanent atom. We can use the color red for the first ray, indigo for the second, green for the third, yellow for the fourth, orange for the fifth, rose or light blue for the sixth, violet for the seventh. Let us envision the many strands of the group Antakarana, each of us contributing our own colors and qualities. Through the creative imagination we see this, the many strands, multicolored strands, as if forming a cone of vibrant multicolored light leading towards a blue-white diamond representing the pure spirit of Shambhala. Or leading inward, let us say, as if we are on the surface of a sphere towards a great central source of diamond light. We can visualize it either way, or as you will. The coat of many colors is Aquarian in nature. All the many colors come together in Aquarius. And we sponsor our particular strand of this group Antakarana, but we recognize all the colors blending together. And it is the group Antakarana which we want to activate, and so with great intensity, great focus, within our point of tension upon the mental plane, we project a beam of pure white light upward across the multicolored bridge towards the blue-white diamond. And we especially think to ourselves, as we do this, we will use especially the second ray, word of power. I see the greatest light. I see the greatest light. And so we will sound on the second ray note, the indigo note, the blue note of G, the Om, while we think with focused intensity, all of us, I see the greatest light. Our projection is as if accessing the three dimensions of the spiritual triad: the abstract mind, the intuition, the spiritual will, manas, buddhi, and atma, and anchoring itself in the pure being, which is sponsored by Shambhala, the source on our planet of pure being where our spirit nature has its home. I see the greatest light. And so we would then be open to triadal impression, and this is in the world in which the masters focus their consciousness and their being. And we sense, through the creative imagination, the presence of the spiritual hierarchy of our planet, principally on triadal levels. The levels of the planetary mind, the planetary heart and love, the planetary will. We sense them as centers of energy with whom we seek to ally ourselves, uniting with them in purpose and in will, in intention, and as a means of promoting that alliance, that experience of their presence. We offer them our solidarity through our salutations. It's not an act of worship, an act of devotion. It's an act of affirmed purpose to salute the great ones. So principally, and at first, we offer with heartfelt gratitude our salutations to the Master of all Masters, the Christ. Salutations to the Christ, the Master of all Masters. Salutations to the triangle of masters with whom we work most closely. Salutations to the Master Moria, the head of all esoteric schools and organizations, the great strengthening factor behind all disciples. Salutations to the Master Kutumi, whose ashram particularly is preparing for the reappearance of the Lord Maitreya, the Master Kutumi, the world teacher of the age of Capricorn. Salutations. Salutations to the Master Jwal Ku, who is the teacher who has given us the Bailey books, and he is particularly training aspirants for initiation. Salutations to your own Master as you conceive him to be. Salutations to the entire spiritual hierarchy of our planet, the great heart center of our planet. And we raise our thoughts toward Shambhala, imaginatively, the center where the will of God is known, and with the deepest reverence and in all humility we attempt, identified as a group being, as a group soul, to attune with the presence of Sanat Kumara, standing at the center of Shambhala, representing the planetary logos, an emanation thereof, the great king. As a group, we seek to attune to divine purpose, divine will. And inwardly and silently, we sound a long Om as we imagine the group imbued with his energy. Only as a group at this time can we approach this energy stream of Shambhala, and so our approach is a united group approach. And now we are aligned and ready to go forward, ready to encounter, imaginatively at least, the energies which have been drawn together in Shambhala under the law of assembly and distributed throughout our planet at this time. And so we imagine this meditating group, and it can be joined by other meditating groups as well that are affiliated. We imagine the meditating group as if it were an intense point of light, of love, of being. We are all united beyond the personal aspect in the intensity of light, love, and being at a point. And this point hovers above a long golden pathway which leads toward the indigo sphere in the midst of a blazing sun. We are going to enter the indigo together. We are as one united being. And we look forward upon the golden path which begins to shorten, and we traveling with it as it shortens, moving towards its absorption into the indigo sphere. Shorter and shorter, and the golden path, and we with it, as a point of consecrated light, love, and being. We enter the indigo sphere. We imagine this and we feel this. And it is as if we are in the presence here of Master DK, who is, we are told, profoundly knowledgeable in matters of the rays and esoteric astrology and the creative hierarchies, these various subtle energies which we seek to encounter, register, and distribute. So we imagine ourselves in his presence. And as we make our ascent toward these available energies, we imagine we are supported, further illumined, guided by this great consciousness of Master DK. And so we are ready then, as a group, to look toward the planetary rulers of Aquarius, Uranus exoterically conveying the capacity to reinvent and renovate the energy patterns through which humanity and individuals express themselves. We can see the glyph of the planet Uranus before us in violet. It is archetypalizing the patterns of our living, bringing authenticity, the intention of the purpose into these patterns. And we will be approaching Jupiter, the esoteric ruler, at least imaginatively, conveying the power to achieve spiritual growth and fulfillment through loving group, cooperation, inclusiveness, the amplification of our powers, our sense of selfhood through inclusiveness. We all benefit. The entire group benefits, not just an individual here and there. And then the moon, we will approach not so much the moon, but really the powers of the three planets working through it in Aquarius, Vulcan, Neptune, and Uranus. Vulcan rendering the etheric physical body strong and fit for soul expression. Neptune suffusing the emotional body with the Buddhic principle of love. It is Christ love, transcendent love, changing our desire nature entirely. And finally Uranus again, seeming to be the planet most identified with Aquarius, transforming the ordinary mind into a occult mind which can understand, receive, manipulate, distribute the much higher energies of the cosmic ethers, which Uranus also rules. So together, certain of our unity as one being, which loves and which knows, we first approach Uranus imaginatively. A great stream of energy is at this time emanating from this planet, We can think of it as the violet flame, although it has other colors and rays associated. It's the home of electric fire. Let's, as if, step into the stream of Uranian energy. It is an alchemical power. It transmutes and transforms and transfigures and translates the human energy system. Everything can change for the better here. All the things we dreamed and hoped, our archetypal longings can occur, be manifest. The lower worlds can be reordered according to the pattern in the heaven, the archetypal pattern. Heaven can reach earth. Uranus is called the heavenly one. We ponder this stream and absorb it. A violet flame stimulating the head center, the throat center. All the jewels and all the chakras, redeeming the sacral energies, calling forth as purpose to the center at the base of the spine. We will be the group transformed, we will be the individual transformed, and we will contribute to humanity transformed. So we're being impressed by this violet flame, electric fire. And in our groups there is need for this transformation, and in our lives. So what is the major need, particularly in our groups? Where should Uranus most be applied? In our service groups, our esoteric groups. How should Uranus be applied to better conditions? Perhaps through Uranus we can become truly responsive to the divine purpose and will, galvanized, electrified, stimulated greatly by this energy which represents the life aspect, the vitality of the divine. So we will visualize where the transformation is needed in our groups particularly, and we will use the violet note. We will use the note B, a seventh ray note, and we will breathe it into our groups and see betterment occurring, the increasing archetypalization of the group life. the livingness of Uranus, the livingness of the group. Livingness. And then we move to ponder the great, the largest planet, Jupiter, the one who is, in a way, most like our solar logos, the esoteric ruler of Aquarius, bestowing that great necessity in full measure, the realization of group consciousness and group love, through which we will all thrive, prosper, grow, become fulfilled. So we see that glyph before us, often in royal blue with some purple connected, and enlarging and unfolding the group causal body and building in us the realization of group soul, so that we don't think of ourselves so much simply as individuals, but think of ourselves in a larger way, in a Jupiterian way, as the group. Jupiter in Aquarius, one of the major conveyors of life more abundant. In the royal blue Jupiter stream, participating in expansion of consciousness and in the sense of life more abundant for everyone, that all may be fulfilled. So that we as a group may grow in consciousness towards the ashram, towards the understanding of the plan and the purpose, and see wider the future possibilities which Aquarius will confer, as Aquarius will bring the entirely new. This being, we are told, the 7th time that Aquarius and the 7th ray have coincided in their cycle during the 5th root race. Fulfillment is coming, and it comes through the expression of love with each other, for each other, to each other. So we look into our groups and see where Jupiter is needed. What are the conditions that need transforming by the Jupiterian energy? Can we promote each other, uplift each other? Can we do everything we can to be channels of increasing abundance to each other, so there is a joy together in our group life? So let us transmit this Jupiterian energy on the Jupiterian note, which we will call the G. And see the changes taking place in our own lives, in our individual lives, our group lives, and beyond, as Jupiter brings the joy of loving understanding and love wisdom to all it reaches. Oh. Feel the inevitability of the destined fulfillment in the age of Aquarius under the esoteric ruler Jupiter. Abundance is coming. The period of Saturn may first precede, necessarily, adjusting values, but fulfillment is on its way through group life. Now, we will turn our attention to the ancient mother, the moon, which is veiling three important sacred planets. Vulcan, an undiscovered planet closely associated with the etheric vehicle and with the physical. Neptune with the transformation of the astral, and Uranus in relation to the mind and its link to the cosmic ethers. And these, in Aquarius, will bring about for all of us eventually a movement beyond form and figure, as we know it in the lower three worlds, into a transfigured and translated state. The moon here standing for the transfiguration of the personality of humanity. Vulcan, the radiance of the etheric physical atoms. Neptune, the transcendent love transmitted through the astral vehicle. And Uranus, occult brilliance, archetypal living brilliance in the mental body. The moon before us, yes, but the three great energies of Vulcan, Neptune, and Uranus entering the group life, transfiguring the group life. And so let us see our groups etherically and physically vibrant, radiant, light-emitting, filled with the love of the Christ, so the astral vehicle no longer desires that which is low, and Uranus, the brilliance of the occult intuitive mind. Let us see these. For our groups, and we will sound 3 ohms, 1 for Vulcan, 1 for Neptune, 1 for Uranus. We will use for Vulcan the note D, as it veils the sun, or is veiled by the sun. Neptune, the A flat, and Uranus, the B. So first for Vulcan, seeing the radiant etheric physical nature of the group. And then for Neptune in rose or deep blue, seeing transcendental love entering the group life, changing group relations entirely. And finally again, electrifying Uranus, the brilliance of archetypal mind, on the seventh ray note, the violet note. And so, through these three, and through Jupiter as well, we will find the transformation of our groups, our ability to live the group life, growing into a higher sense of identity, everything improved, and the miasms driven away, and the archetypalization manifest just as the purpose in the world of being intends. Energized as never before. So now, aided by the consciousness of Master DK, we have approached some attunement with the planetary energies now available, and we stretch our consciousness imaginatively towards the great God of love, wisdom, the Solar Logos, the great God of our solar system, his second ray soul, his second ray personality. We feel that great indigo energy of which all monads are a part, the great God of love, widely distributing this love, aided by the sign Aquarius, and so doing the distributive sign Aquarius. Love, wisdom subsuming all of the planets, feeding all that is heart and soul and spirit within us, immersed, our group immersed in the love wisdom of the blue Logos. And let us carry the love wisdom of our Solar Logos always as a factor in consciousness. This is indeed the great life of our solar system, active at all the full moon opportunities, the open door to love wisdom. For all. And so we are ascending the double diamond, the Dorje, and now turn our consciousness as a group towards the constellation Aquarius itself, the water bearer, with its peculiar and beautiful quality of light, the light that shines on earth across the sea. We can see the redemption coming of the astral plane. There are water associations with Aquarius. And the most foundational of the creative hierarchies, the baskets of nourishment ruled by Aquarius, the life at the heart of every atom of substance, the light that shines on earth across the sea, emanating from shambolic sources and far beyond. This is the light which ever shines within the dark, and cleansing with its healing rays that which must be purified until the dark has gone. We recall the 11th labor of Hercules, the cleansing of the Augean stables, which for 30-some years, each of the lower vehicles had been bemired in filth, and yet Aquarius could cleanse, this cleansing light, bringing in the new types of healing of all kinds, the purity of the archetype, which cleanses all accretions, all mire, all filth, driving it away in the great flow of divine energy, the cleansing light which shines on earth across the sea. So we open ourselves to the feel of the energy quality of Aquarius, profoundly related to the fifth ray as a constellation, but bringing in the seventh and the second and the fourth and the first and the sixth, all through its planetary rulers. It is a sign of universality. Sir Thomas More, a great utopian Aquarian, was called the man for all seasons. Sir Francis Bacon, now the Master R, the Mahachohan, certainly a universal Aquarian type, entering into the fulfillment of universality, universal love of Aquarius, universal mind, and somehow conveying as well through the Great Bear the universal will, a very stimulating engagement. Because we will be saved and redeemed and cleansed by the great subtle energies, the majority of which we hardly know, hardly suspect, but some of which we know. And in this flood of universality, universalizing the individual, the group, humanity, and the planet, relating them to the greater picture through an endless flow and circulation of subtle energies, we contemplate the mantram of the constellation Aquarius. Water of life am I, poured forth for thirsty men, for all human beings poured forth. And we attempt to grasp the esoteric meaning and how we must, in our group life and our planetary life, use these energies to make the great needed changes. Water of life am I, poured forth for thirsty men. We contemplate together. The world's service of Aquarius, the pouring forth of all we have into the great task of service and redemption. Water of life am I, poured forth for thirsty men. How can we give to the particular? How can we give to the universal? Lead us from the individual to the universal. Enhancing the wholeness. Water of life am I, poured forth for thirsty men. At this time, when humanity needs the sense of its oneness to overcome the many divisions which now threaten future progress, how do we unite in the presence, in the universal, as parts of each other, augmenting the progress of each and all, and denying none the abundance which is imminent in this coming age. Water of life, of life, of abundant life. The life aspect, that which lives, water of life am I, poured forth for thirsty men. May Aquarius empower our individual and group lives, the life of the one being humanity, the life of our planet and of our solar system, entering into the new possibilities through the release and correct reception and use of the waters of life. If we ever think we lack, if we ever feel we are insufficient, or do not have enough to be of use, it is not so. Because all the medicines are in the sky, and through the great abundance of Aquarius will be conferred upon the individuals and groups who can receive. Water of life am I. I am that. Water of life am I, poured forth for thirsty men. And so our full moon will be approaching in just another 15.5 hours or so. And we want to stay in this alignment, whether awake or even asleep, as we go to sleep with the intention that we will remain in the alignment from the one about whom naught may be said, the great superconstellational deity of our local cosmos, at this time through the constellation Aquarius, that fifth ray pouring through, and through the solar logos at the heart of the solar system, through the planets Uranus, Jupiter, and the Moon, with their veiled planets, into Shambhala, and thus through our monadic nature and all associated spirits and monads, into the hierarchy and through the great Lord, the Christ, and through the entire ashram, and the ashram with which you believe yourself to be affiliated. Aquarius and the fifth ray and the seventh ray and all the planetary powers are flowing, enlivening, stimulating, increasing vibration, so that so much that is undesirable is thrown off, coming into our spiritualized personalities, and through the head center as a whole, and linking with the center of all the chakras into the base of the spine, the great alignment, the flow. For Aquarius is the great sign of flow, and of constant circulation and distribution, and of the supplying to all that which they need, truly need, if they can be wisely open and benevolent and dismiss the lower ego as a phantasm so that all the energy streams can open up and the true individual can receive. And we do view the world. These energies must be applied. There is so much difficulty, so many problems in the world at this time, at the close of this lesser age of Pisces, and actually at the close of the greater age of Pisces as well. So many things needing redemption and new patterns. So let us, as a group, look out into our troubled world. Our troubled world. Can we find a place, a condition in which the energy of Aquarius is most needed? As individuals, let us do that. Let us focus where this energy should go. Where should it go? What can it do? And when we have located the problem or the pattern of the condition which needs renovation, repatterning, archetypalization, an increase in the vibration which will destroy the old patterns and bring the new, let us transmit via the creative imagination, the flow of the Aquarian energy through the group, into the world, seeing the redemption occur. We will hold that group redemptive attitude as the hours elapse and the exact full moon approaches. And in the alignments we have created, or at least acknowledged, because they do exist, we will together sound the great invocation, transmitting in this alignment the light, love, and power of the great constellational sources through our solar system and planet, humanity, and all individuals. The great invocation, the mantram of light and power, the transforming mantram, our most effective instrument and tool for promoting the reappearance of the Christ. From the point of light within the mind of God, Let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Well, thank you, everyone. It's been wonderful to meditate with you in this group, and let us as a group and in our affiliated groups hold this presence of the life-giving Aquarian energy. Let us build toward the moment of the exact full moon, which I should know here. I think it's just about 9:54. It's 9:53 and I think 53 seconds, something like that. Almost 9:54 Greenwich Mean Time. And this webinar should be available fairly shortly on Makara and on Transfer Big Files, if we can do it, in audio and in video as well. So you can use it as you wish during the coming days of distribution and even on the day of the full moon if you wish. So great to work with you. Thank you for attending, participating, and let us have a wonderful Aquarius full moon meditation.